Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the joint meeting of the City Council and the Board of Finance. For anyone who may be new joining us, this is a body that is comprised of both the City Council and the Board of Finance. And you're going to see us move pretty quickly through the agenda items, and that's because both of our respective boards have already seen them. So then they come here for the final financial blessing. Before we begin our agenda, I'd like to ask everybody who is able to stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Would the members of the joint committee please introduce themselves, starting on my far right?
David Mykowski, Board of Finance. Mark Peterson, Board of Finance.
John Mace, Board of Finance.
Marie O'Brien, Board of Finance.
Mark Dickow, City Council, District 3.
Sue Tyler, City Council, District 2.
Steve Seymour, City Council, District 3.
Peter Kelly, City Council, District 2.
Jane Murdoch, Board of Finance.
Bill Campion, Board of Finance.
And I believe we have Commissioner Tagliariello from the Board of Finance online. Is there anybody else online?
Michael Massarelli, Board of Finance.
Hi, Mike. Commissioner Mazzarelli is online as well.
Good evening.
Thank you. The first item on our agenda is the approval of the minutes of the regular joint meeting, which was held on December 9th, 2025. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mykowski, second by Dickow. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The next item is the consent agenda, which contains 7 items, and this is another part of our agenda that we just go quickly through. Is there any items on the consent agenda that any member of the joint committee would like to pull off for further discussion? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda, items 3A through 3G?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Tagliariello, second by Councilman Dickow. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We're now going to ask our controller, Diane Waldron, to come up for her monthly revenue and expense report presentation.
Good evening. Well, one downfall with having all these meetings tonight, I left my notes upstairs, so bear with me. So I pulled it up online. Couple of things just to let you know. I know if you're looking at the financial report, I always put the revenues, put a different format in. It looks like we are behind in our tax collections. We're at 57% on the current revenues compared to 66% in the prior year. Timing, there's a lot of escrow payments that come in, and there were a couple that didn't get posted to the system. So I talked to the tax office, and when you add all that in, we're actually comparable to last year at this time at 65%. And, you know, this is something that I do like to monitor to make sure that we're in line with the prior year. Prior year tax revenue, pretty much consistent with last year. And then the motor vehicle sup, we will start receiving the second half of the motor vehicle sup that was due January 1. So as we talked about before, that's now billed into installments for the supplement. So we already collected $1.3 million on what was billed in July. Any questions on tax revenues? Doing very well in building permit fees. We're at 77.3% of the budget, again, comparable to last year. And we did get a couple of large conveyance payments in. I think it was in December, right, Erica? So we actually are now at 98% on the conveyance fees. So that's good. Hopefully we'll build a nice surplus there. Investment income, right now, we are at 50% of the budget. Again, we're still in the process of closing out last fiscal year, so we're a little behind on the revenue postings for the interest income. So what you see there, 43.6 is through October, but when I add November in, we're at 50%. So a little bit ahead of where we are, you know, we still have, that's through November, so we still have, you know, 7 months to go. So we'll be monitoring that as well. Any questions on any of the other revenues? And again, when you compare the investment income, I know I say this every month, we did increase that budget quite substantially for this year. So percentage-wise, it won't compare. On the expenditure side, nothing really of note on the city side to talk about. Monitoring that. The Capital Improvement and Strategic Planning Committee will meet the end of the month. Everybody has been putting in their capital budget requests in ClearGov. For those of you that are on the CIP committee and know how that works, it is really a nice tool. So we'll compile all that information when we have our first meeting. And then we've already received some department budgets as well right now. And I think Jody's scheduled department meetings in January. The end of January they start. Actually, I think they start next week. With some of the smaller departments. I think the largest department we've got so far is Parks. He always likes to get his in early, so we're reviewing that one as well right now. Just so you know, we did send out an email. The Board of Ed is holding their first budget workshop on January 24th. It's a Saturday at 9 a.m. here in this room. So just mark your calendars if you want to hear that. And then their second meeting is scheduled for February 3rd. We did receive the audit in time. We did get a clean audit report. What I usually try to do every year is kind of just highlight, there's a lot of information in the audit report. It seems like every year there's something new that we have to report, we have to change, and it just seems to keep growing. But I do like to at least point out certain things that you should read. It is on the website. You have the link there to get to the audit report. If you want a hard copy, we have them. Just let me know. We don't get as many as we used to in the past, but we have enough if anybody wants one. The transmittal letter is really an overview. The auditor's report, unmodified opinion, so it's clean. We really had no issues this year. I think the biggest issue we had was one of the accounting pronouncements that we had to implement. Took a little time to put together. The management's discussion and analysis on pages 5 to 19, there's a lot of analysis in that. One thing you need to keep in mind is it does the whole city. So when you're reading that, if you have questions, definitely you can absolutely call me and I could explain any of those reports to you. With regard to the general fund and the governmental funds, fund balance right now is at 11.6%. That's the unassigned fund balance. Fund balance total is $43 million. Our unassigned portion of that is 31. So it's come down a little bit, and again, because I don't have my notes with me, just bear with me. We did use about $2.5 million of fund balance this year because of the additional funds that we had to appropriate for the Board of Ed and the way everything ended at the end of the year. There are a lot of other things in here with the pension. The water and sewer funds are separate, so you have those pages if you want to refer to those. And then the general fund budget and actual statements are called RSI 1 and 2. Those are on pages 89 and 99. If you ever wanted to see like what was actually budgeted versus what we spent, that's a good, those are two good schedules to really look at. Everything else is all done on a GAAP basis, so it's all adjusted for all accruals. But on a budget basis, the pages 89 and 99 give you a good picture of what was actually spent versus what was budgeted. And then, of course, there are the footnotes. We did submit this. We've been getting the GFOA award for, I think, over 38 years. So we did submit it to GFOA for the award. And the single audit report, there's one for federal and one for state. They were both clean, no reportable conditions. So happy to report staff's doing a great job. So I have to really thank my staff for working really hard to get this done this year. Any questions? I know I spoke fast.
Madam Chairman, I have a question.
Yes.
Do you provide a hard copy to our library?
You know what?
Should you?
I could find out. Actually, that would not be a bad thing to have in file. It is filed in the city clerk's office. We do have to do that. That is a requirement.
Thank you.
And it is on our website.
Through the chair.
Yes.
I'd just like to acknowledge all the hard work the department heads did to facilitate this audit very quickly and promptly, and all the hard work for the comptroller's office to get all the information and everything else, and to have a clean report again and on time. There's a lot of municipalities that are a year, 2, 3 years behind still is pretty impressive, especially for a city our size. So thank you, Diane.
Yeah, thank you.
And to your team.
Yeah, they did a great job getting it done because we don't want to be on that list that we have to extend, number one. And number two, I have to thank CLA. We have a great team that works with us. And they've I think we've had the manager now for, I think this is his third year. So he knows us, he knows what to ask for, and he's familiar, so it makes it a lot easier. So, but thank you. Staff worked really hard to get it done.
So one last question, when is that contract up? Does that need to be renewed or go out to bid again next year or this year?
So they are through 2028, I think. They're through the June 2028 audit. And if you remember, when we reappointed them a couple of times, there were a lot of transitions where they were bought out, they merged with another company. We've had a number of different partners on the account. And there are not very many audit firms out there in Connecticut right now. That's why many are behind right now, because there's really only like 2 or 3. So,
We did change partners just a couple of years ago.
and we have
so it's
partners. Yep.
fresh people looking at it.
Anything else? Great.
Any other questions or comments on this side?
No.
I just want to mention that Chairman Mykowski, myself, and Board of Ed Chairwoman Pons hosted a tri-meeting before this to go over some statutory issues with Board of Education, Board of Finance funding. I thought it was a great refresher, and I'm looking forward to the communicative and collaborative nature of what we hope to be working with. So thank you all for attending, and I look forward to the budget process. Is there any other business to come before the panel?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn by Councilman Tyler. Is there a second?
Second.
Campion? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We are going to reconvene as the city council in about 3 minutes, and the Zoom that is currently in place is the correct Zoom. People can just stay there, and we will commence shortly. Hey, good evening, everyone. We're going to reconvene as the city council meeting. We're going to ask that for our call to order, we're going to begin with asking our fire chief, Richard Hart, to come forward to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. It's been a difficult week for the fire department, and we're going to hear more about that in a little bit. But I'd like to ask Chief Hart to come forward, and please stand. Thank you. Before we get into the rest of our opening ceremonies, tonight in January, as we kick off 2026, we are also starting off the year-long celebration of the 250th signing of the Declaration of Independence. And I'd like to ask Lee McFadden to come forward. She has been instrumental in the committee that is working within Bristol to recognize this national event. And we are going to present her and the committee that has been working so hard with a proclamation as part of our opening ceremonies. And the proclamation from the City of Bristol reads, whereas the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence and the formation of the United States of America will occur on July 4th, 2026. And whereas Bristol, then known as New Cambridge, was founded in 1785 and has contributed proudly and significantly to the history of our nation and state for more than 241 years. So the governor has established the Connecticut Semi-Quincentennial Commission with Executive Order 22-02. And whereas it is appropriate that Bristol engage fully with our past and looks toward a shared future as we work toward the goal of equality and recognition of unalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So therefore, I, Ellen Zappo Sassu, Mayor of the City of Bristol, on behalf of the City Council, do hereby proclaim Bristol's support of Bristol's America 250 initiative to honor the past and inspire the future, and encourage residents to recognize and participate in commemorative events as we celebrate 250 years of this nation. What it looks like.
Bristol Committee has been meeting now for over 2 years. We've been meeting monthly. We have a wide variety of representatives on our committee. We have people from the school system, we have people from the library, people from the Historical Society, the other museums in town, the town historian. So we have a wide input of people. Our big kickoff is this Thursday at the Carousel Museum, and we're sorry Madam Mayor can't attend. She's very busy. But we're looking forward to kicking off events. Our big event, save on your calendar, is June 14th, Flag Day. We will be on the Federal Hill Green, and we will have reenactors and all kinds of things. We're very excited. The state's first official troubadour, who has ties to Bristol. We have already engaged him for that event, and he has written a song for Bristol, he came and played it for us our last meeting. It was really great. So I hope to see you at a lot of the events. We're going to have an event at least monthly. We're going to have a new Liberty tree dedicated. There will be walks through the cemeteries, all kinds of activities. So I hope to see you there. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, continuing with our call to order and opening ceremonies. We often don't do lately a moment of silence, but this has been a week where there are several that I would like to acknowledge. The first being Renee Good of Minneapolis and everything that transpired across the country as a result of that. The second is Christopher Kit Critchley, who is a retired firefighter whose funeral was a couple of days ago. Kit was also a Vietnam veteran and much beloved citizen of the forceful section of Bristol, which would very firmly tell you that was where he was from. And also we lost Donald Padlow, who was a longtime commissioner, first of the Connecticut Regional Planning Agency and then on the Public Works Board. He logged over 50 years of volunteer service to the city of Bristol and stayed on that Public Works Board until late in his 80s. And finally, we lost an active city employee this week, Jay Kelly, who was our firefighter technician. And this was a hard one. Jay is known by everybody in the city. And I honestly don't know how we're going to do it without having him pop in the office and be such a bright light to so many departments that he worked with. So for those 4 people, and for anybody else who has volunteered with the city of Bristol and or former employees that I may not have named, we thank them for their service, and I'd like to ask for a moment of silence. And then if he was interested in doing so, I would like the chief to come forward to say a few words about Jay Kelly. Thank you. Chief, do you feel that you could say a few words about Jay?
Thank you, Mayor. As the mayor said, it has been a rough week for the Bristol Fire Department with Kit passing. But Jay Kelly, first time I met Jay back in 2007, I was a battalion chief in Waterbury in charge of the repair shop. And the only thing I knew mechanically was that the fuel goes in the back, oil goes in the front, and the two should never mix. And when I met Jay, I realized I knew then more than he did. But in all seriousness, he helped me out a lot in that position. And then fast forward to 2014, 2015, I was up at the Capitol working on some legislation for apparatus safety, and I reached out to Jay to help out along with Tony Capuano from New Haven and Dan Madden from Hartford, and because they were my go-to guys for anything apparatus or equipment. And then when I was blessed to be appointed here, Jay picked me up on my first day, brought me here, and we just reacquainted. And Jay was your friend 5 minutes before you met him. That was the kind of person he was. I told the mayor that it's going to be hard for me to get fuel down at DPW because I use Jay's employee number because I couldn't tell you what mine is today. And I've used it every day that I've gotten fuel for the last 4 years. Jay he was a comedian. Took great pleasure in saran wrapping my desk one day, denying it for about 2 hours, and then being the good Irishman that he was, he just couldn't help himself and admitted it. He would play pranks on my admin, Sarah, and to the guys down at Station 4. They had quite the relationship. Everyone went to him. He was the butt of a lot of jokes. The guys in the fire department are extremely clever and devious. And one of the new kids decided to get a neon light that looks like your check engine light in your car and hang it above his chair down at headquarters when he'd come up for lunch. And it would go on every once in a while when Jay would walk in. And he'd just look and really? And whenever I did something or said something to Jay that he didn't like, with all due respect, Chief, and then you can fill in the rest. He would let me know how he felt, but he always did it with a smile and a laugh. And I know the mayor worked with him when there was no chief. She relied heavily on him, leaned on him, and he was up to the task. And we're really going to miss him. It's going to be very difficult to fill the void, not just for his expertise. As I was telling people, his tentacles reach out throughout the state. He has many contacts. I've been getting phone calls and text messages from vendors that we use, vendors we don't use. It's been amazing as to his reach. And his wife and daughter, Tracy and Mackenzie, obviously are devastated, but we will take care of them. And I'd be remiss if I didn't recognize a couple of people, Lieutenant Brian Plord and Lieutenant Bob Lavoie. I assigned them to be the family liaisons, and they're doing yeoman's work. This is a big planning process. Tracy, after Jay passed on Saturday, goes, I don't even know what bank my mortgage is with. And these guys are the ones that have been taking care of all of her needs, wants, and wishes. And to them, I'll be eternally grateful, as well as Lieutenant Jim Marks, the union president, who I joked that people are going to think there's something going on between us because we've been living together for the past, what's today, Tuesday, 3 days. He's been by my side throughout this whole horrific ordeal. So I thank you, Mayor, for the opportunity to speak. That's pretty much it.
Thank you.
So thank you.
Okay. Moving on to our approval of minutes from the regular city council meeting held on December 9th, 2025. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion or corrections? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to public participation, we've already done 3A, which was the presentation of the proclamation. Do we have public participation? Okay, we'll start with those in chambers and then we'll move to anybody who may be online. The first person is Cheryl Tebow to discuss ACF.
Cheryl Tebow, 73 Yard Drive, Bristol. Mayor and Council, tonight's agenda includes an item concerning the Animal Control Facility Committee, a proposal to discharge the current committee to a new scope and direction, and to reassign city employees who are not electors to liaison status. I urge you to vote no on this item. The existing committee has worked diligently for many years. We thoroughly examined options to reuse, renovate, or rebuild the current facility at its existing location. After careful analysis and coordination with both the Police Commission and Public Works, all three bodies agreed that pursuing a new facility would be the best course of action. Subsequently, changes enacted by the Connecticut legislature significantly altered requirements, including kennel size and HVAC standards. In response, the committee secured a site that minimizes impact on neighboring properties and includes a structure capable of meeting those updated regulations. The committee also explored regional partnerships with neighboring communities to pursue potential state grants. Last year, we issued an RFP and selected an architect with specialized expertise in animal control facilities. The committee has been awaiting the mayor's authorization to allow the architect to begin their work that would deliver both optimal use of the building and a more accurate cost estimate. Throughout this process, the committee has listened closely to the community. The care and concern residents have shown for animal welfare has been evident in every call, comment, and written submission. This committee is fully invested in delivering a facility that meets legal requirements, serves our animals, and reflects the values of our community. Disbanding it now, reducing stakeholders to liaison status, and excluding electors from meaningful participation undermines public trust and diminishes transparency. For these reasons, I hopefully ask you to vote no. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Morris Patton to speak on Dads Up Front.
Morris Patton, 49 Field Street here in Bristol, Connecticut. First and foremost, thank you for the opportunity to speak, and congratulations to all of you for the way you serve the city. I am here to speak about Dads Up Front. I'm actually here to do some promotion for an event that I am hosting at the end of the month. Over the summer, I actually did something that had been heavy on my heart for about 12, 13 years, and I created my own nonprofit called Dads Up Front. A lot of you might know some of my story and how hard I had to fight to stay in my daughter's life, to stay in my stepchildren's life. And it was the loneliest and most expensive thing I've ever done. But I'd do it again tomorrow if I had to. But I know way too many dads who need and lack that level of encouragement, who lack the resources, who lack the guidance, who lack the simple support that encourages them to stay in their fight. And I want to be that resource here in Connecticut that keeps these guys believing that their children are worth fighting for. So I created Dads Up Front. On Saturday, January 31st, we'll be hosting our first event. The Bristol Boys and Girls Club, Jay Maya, has been very generous in donating 3 hours worth of time in their meeting room for us. Hour one will be a social hour. Hour two will be a forum, an actually moderated discussion. I've been in constant contact with the gentleman who's on the TV staff of ESPN, who's asked to moderate it. And in hour three will be an open mic forum where I actually have men, women, grown women who want to come and talk about how important their fathers were to them and how grateful they are that their dads were the dads that they were. So I really want to just empower fathers. I'm asking any support that you guys might be able to offer just in terms of promoting this event. I think it's going to be extremely powerful. The traction that we're gaining has been great. We're getting almost 100 Facebook followers a week since we've launched the page. Again, ESPN, we've had food donations. Malcolm Huckabee from Bristol has already done an ESPN gift bag that he wants to raffle off So I think we're really starting in the right direction. There have been offers to host this in other towns, but it's really important to me that the first 3 at a bare minimum happen here in Bristol, because that's when I was at my bottom. That's this community that supported me and my daughter. So this is my way of giving back. Would it be okay to offer some flyers to you guys?
Yes.
Thank you.
Does it have the times on there too? Yes, the times on there.
And as always, thank you.
Thank you. The next person for public participation is Kristen Giantonio for the Parent Ambassador.
Good evening, Kristen Giantonio, 275 Allentown Road. I'm here of my own personal volition, but I would like to share I'm also a sitting Board of Ed Commissioner. I'm not here to speak on their behalf. That work that I do there also informs this work for me to be here tonight to urge the City Council to please approve items 6B and 6C on your agenda regarding an additional parent ambassador. The work of the Early Childhood Committee and the work of parent involvement is very powerful, giving and making sure that our city has opportunities for children, for parents of children in our school district to be able to participate and be a parent ambassador and get involved in education is extremely important work. And I always want to support any opportunities that could expand or grow that. So I would encourage the City Council to do the same. I'm also encouraging you to approve item 6C because as parents, we need flexibility, and that would provide a little bit of extra flexibility for that ambassador to be able to schedule the hours as needed. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate the opportunity to speak.
Thank you, Kristen. And last on the in-person list is Matthew Byadun to speak on the animal control facility.
Hello, my name is Matthew Biden from 53 Buff Road. Just to start this off, I think the state really put the city in a tough position. They passed this mandate a few years ago and gave you guys about 6 years to meet all the requirements. There's no funding or anything. So I do kind of sympathize. The city is in a tough position with this. And I think we've done pretty admirably so far. In about 2 years, we set up a committee. We found a location, which just so happened to be a dog daycare for 7 years, I think. It's really big. It's big enough that it can serve either the city alone or a regionalized plan. We found a firm that focuses on building dog kennels, which I didn't know a firm could focus solely on, but I guess there's enough business for that. And we put over $5 million in the budget for that building. So I think seeing as that was all done in about 2 years, I felt like we were pretty on track. I understand plans have changed now, and I honestly sympathize with the reason. I feel like regionalization is a good goal to pursue and making sure we're maximizing our resources. But I do worry that because that deadline is still there, we have to have it done by 2029. I am worried we're getting a little off that track now. I think this committee has stuck with the project so far. They've done pretty well. They're knowledgeable on it. They've, been involved for these 2 years. I feel like it would serve the city best and serve the deadline best and meeting it if we just stuck with that committee. We can put the project on pause and look into those regionalized ideas, but I feel like that same committee should be there with us to see it out. So that's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Matthew. Is there anybody online who would like to address the City Council? Okay, hearing none, we're going to move on to announcements. And before I ask our City Council members to speak, I would like to note for the record that both Councilman Hahn and Councilman Rosengren are on vacations this week. So that's why you only see 5 of us up here. Moving on to announcements, I'm going to start on my far left with Councilman Kelly. Any announcements?
I do not.
Councilwoman Tyler.
I do not.
I do not.
Okay. Moving on to our consent agenda, we have 3 items that appear. Do any of these items need to be removed by any council members for them to discuss further? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Okay.
Any discussion? Approved. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to reports and committee reports. We're going to start with the committee reports that are on the agenda, and then we will morph into additional ones. So we're going to head this section by 6A from Salary Committee. So I will cede over the floor to Councilman Dickow.
This is to approve a motion to approve a wage increase for part-time and seasonal positions based on current position value in Parks and Recs, Youth and Community Services Department effective Sunday, January 18, 2026, and refer to the Board of Finance for informational purposes.
There's a second.
Second.
Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Still with Salary Committee?
I would like to move to approve one additional position of parent ambassador, non-bargaining, grant funded with a 2-year term at the rate of $25 per hour and refer to the Board of Finance for informational purposes.
Second.
Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And also like to move to approve the change of parent ambassador work schedule from not to exceed 10 hours per month to not to exceed 120 hours per physical year.
Second.
Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to the Ordinance Committee, Councilman Dickow.
I'd like to move to set a public hearing date and introduce amendments to the Bristol Code of Ordinances, Chapter 18, Planning, Article 7, Bristol Transportation Committee. Oh, 12. Thank you.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? So just to add for people who may be following along, the Transportation Commission has requested a review because they are feeling as if their mission is not very clear. So we're going to send that to ordinance to examine that ordinance for either clarification or possible deletion. Any further conversation? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Also out of veterans, the veterans exemptions is coming out of your committee, but that doesn't require a public hearing, but maybe you could provide an overview.
The proposed new section of Public Act 26-28 property tax exemption for military service connected disabilities is moving forward without a public hearing. This is for somebody that was disabled, completely disabled from service related issues. It can be either the home or automotive, but not both for a tax exemption within the city. And this is something that we've been working on since last month.
Right. So there's some new enabling legislation that the city of Bristol is choosing to adopt in order to allow some of our veterans and veterans families to have an extended benefit. There are a couple of other components as well. And because it's enabling legislation, it doesn't require a public hearing, but is working its way through the process for adoption.
I move to introduce, in accordance with Section 41F of the Charter of the City of Bristol, the following amendments to the Code of Ordinances are hereby introduced. I hereby move that the time and we're supposed to read both of them. Motion to waive the reading.
Is there a second? Okay, motion has been made and seconded. All in favor of waiving the reading?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Continue.
In accordance with Section 41F of the Charter of the City of Bristol, I hereby move that the reading of the proposed amendments of the Code of Ordinances to be introduced this date pertaining to Section 18-167 through 18-171 be waived. Motion to introduce, in accordance with Section 41F of the Charter of the City of Bristol, the following amendments to the Code of Ordinances are hereby introduced. I hereby move that the time and place of Tuesday, February 3rd, 2026 at 4:55 p.m. in Meeting Room 1-1, City Hall, first floor, 111 North Main Street, Bristol, Connecticut, be set for the holding of a public hearing thereon by the Ordinance Committee, and the city clerk publish notice of said public hearing and the proposed amendments to the Code of Ordinances as required by city charter. Underscored text is, oh, sorry, that's it.
Okay, so is there a second? Motion has been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And just through you, Councilman Dickow, to maybe either the attorneys or our assessor, what is the process for the veterans adoption? That's just going to be a motion to adopt, right? In February?
Yes.
Yes. Right. So the finishing touches are being put on the language for the veterans exemptions, and we will expect that on our February agenda. Great. Thank you very much, Attorney Conlon. Okay. Anything else from the Ordinance Committee?
That is it.
Okay. We have 2 items from the Real Estate Committee. Is anybody been tapped to do that?
No.
Yes, I have.
All right. Real Estate Committee, Councilman Dickow.
I move to authorize the mayor or acting mayor to enter into a 6-month listing agreement with Bottom Line Realty to act as its real estate agent for the sale of city-owned property known as 135 East Main Street, map 41, lot 10, with an anticipated listing price of $125,000, and to authorize the mayor or acting mayor to sign a document necessary to effectuate this motion, and that its matter be referred to Corporation Council.
There's a second.
Second.
Discussion. Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay. Motion to amend. I hereby move to amend the motion regarding the acceptance of an offer from Keith McDonald or his assigns in response to RFP number 2026-015 entitled Sale of Surplus Property at Burlington Ave Assessors Map 21, Lot 420-1 and 420-1A, which was adopted by the City Council at its November 12, 2025 meeting, so that it would read that City Council accept the offer from Keith McDonald or his assigns in response to RFP request for proposal number 2026-015 entitled Sale of the Surplus Property at Burlington Avenue Assessors Map 21, Lot 420-1 and 420-1A. The terms of acceptance of this proposal are as follows. 1. The purchase price shall be in cash increment transaction of $5,000. 2. The purchaser shall merge it with his property known as 336 Burlington Avenue, Bristol, Connecticut. 3. All costs associated with this transaction, including but not limited to cost of surveys, maps, closing costs, publication notices, etc., shall be the responsibility of the purchaser. The City of Bristol shall incur no cost in this transaction, nor does it take any representations to the purchaser of its allowable use of this lot. I further move that the mayor or acting mayor be authorized to sign any documents necessary to effectuate this motion, and that this matter be referred to Corporation Council.
Motion has been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to other committee reports before we go to item G. Do any other council members have any other committee reports that they would like to bring forward? Councilman Kelly.
I have a committee report from Bristol Early Childhood Collaborative. And the Bristol Early Childhood Collaborative is partnering with several area churches to provide bi-weekly weekend food backpacks for families in need. And there's a limited number of spaces still available for families with children at Bristol Child Development Center, Imagination, and Edgewood Pre-Kindergarten Academy. Please reach out to Jennifer St. John at jenniferstjohn@bristolct.gov. That's Jennifer, STJOHN, at bristolct.gov. And if parents are looking for an affordable, high-quality preschool experience for their child, please reach out to our state-funded sites. And right now, there are a few full-day spaces available at Bristol Child Development Center on West Street for 4-year-olds and Imagination for 3 and 4-year-olds. Thank you.
Yeah, I got something for the Bristol Library and Man Ross. We are kicking off a campaign to get more people to get their library cards and getting more people to use the facility more. And basically, and also they're looking for roofing for the Man Ross Library. They're taking bids for Man Ross also. But we're trying to basically get more people into the library, get their cards. So we're kicking off a campaign. I'm donating my company services to do that for free. Video. Yep.
You're gonna get a library card?
Yes, I'm going to get a library card.
Don't have a library card now.
Stop.
Ask him if he knows how to read.
Councilman Tyler.
I have nothing this month. Thank you.
I have nothing additional.
Okay, so moving on to the item G, Animal Control Facility Committee.
Yes.
The vote for this particular item is to discharge the current Animal Control Facility Committee due to its new scope and direction, as well as to reassign city employees who are not electors to liaison status. So what we're doing here is we are really moving in a new direction. And so per Robert's rules, the motion comes down that it is a discharge. Discharge of the current committee, we will be reconstituting it under committee reports, but there were 3 city employees who serve very important roles on this committee, but they are not electors. We are going to move them to liaison positions so that we can continue to use their services and expertise, but actually add additional people to that committee, which you will hear about during the appointment section of the agenda. So with that being said, I'd like to ask for a motion to discharge the current Animal Control Facility Committee due to its new scope and direction, as well as to reassign city employees who are not electors to liaison status. So moved.
Second.
And now for discussion. I will just say in regard to some of the public comments that we've had, this is a unfunded state mandate that we do need to upgrade our animal control facility, which is in need of that. This has been in process for a couple of years, and the price tag that currently exists with this project, including the acquisition of the Cross Street property, stands at about $6.5 million. It is a very large expenditure for a community that has not been able to unlock the regional cooperation grant that would accompany this. If we were successful in unlocking the regional cooperation, we would be able to access a grant that would pay for 100% of the project, not including the building that has already been acquired. So my direction to this committee is to go back to the drawing board and work to get that regional cooperation on the books. I have met with and discussed this item with the first selectmen and mayors in our surrounding towns, and 3 of them are willing to come back to the table and have those discussions, and we're going to present the discussion in maybe a different way than it was previously when it was rejected. So with that new scope, it is appropriate and proper per Robert's rules to discharge a committee and then bring a new committee back in order to do that. And especially with the issue of the non-electors moving to liaison, I felt that it was important to put it on the agenda to be transparent and have everybody see what we're doing. This is step 1, and as I said, you will see step 2 with the appointments. Any further conversation? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to old business, starting on my far right. Councilman Dickow.
I do nothing.
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 I have a statement I'd like.
The appropriate time would have been announcements, but sure, you can do.
On demerit.
Okay, old business. At least you have a library card, right?
I do.
Okay.
Okay, well, this isn't a lighthearted reading, but I would like to take a moment to honor the life of Renee Good, whose life was taken from her far too early last week in Minneapolis. I, along with my Democratic colleagues on the council here tonight, would like to offer our sincere condolences to Renee's family and friends and to the entire community of Minneapolis. And also in honoring Renee, we feel it's necessary to also express our deep concern that we have for the actions of ICE, both last week and throughout the past year. Renee Good's unnecessary death showcases how badly accountability and new direction is needed at the Department of Homeland Security and in our federal government. Our country needs to return to valuing the basic human dignity that exists in all of us, documented or undocumented, left or right, friend or foe, gay or straight, black or white. We are all in this together. I hope that the egregious events of the past week can help steer our country back to this understanding. Thank you.
Thank you. Old business for me, I just want to update the community that the City of Bristol is currently having conversations with the West Cemetery Association, who have asked for some assistance in dealing with some of their operational policy issues and some long-term strategies. West Cemetery is a city-owned cemetery, but for many years has been managed by the West Cemetery Association, which is a nonprofit. We have rendered assistance to them in the past, and I think that we are looking to maybe make some new arrangements for their long-term stability, as well as the stability of the families that rely upon West Cemetery, both for the future needs, but also for those who are buried there. Currently, our Public Works, our Parks and Recreation, and our Corporation Counsel's Office is involved in preliminary discussions, and we will be bringing these items back both for the public to have the ability to comment on and for some various policy issues. And I'm hoping to run this concurrent with the budget process so that we can actually see if there's any cost implications in this as well. So that is the only old business item that I have. And if nobody else has thought of anything, we will move on to new business. The first item is consider the adoption of a cash penny rounding standard for cash payments received by the City of Bristol and to take any action as necessary. This actually garnered a lot of attention on social media last week.
Genius.
Yes. We are following the Government Finance Officers Association recommendation, which is, I think, being followed by many municipalities, but we wanted to just be very open about it, that we're going to be rounding up and rounding down based on cash payments only in terms of, right now, the tax office is the focus, but also there are other city offices who take cash payments as well. Pennies are going out of circulation. We currently have a supply, but we don't know how long that is going to last. So we want to be very open about what that policy is going to look like moving forward. So would somebody be willing to make that motion?
Make a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion on the motion. Through myself, the chair, to Corporation Clift, is this going to be immediately in effect if upon passage? Okay. Right. Okay. Put your microphone on. All right, thank you. So this will be an immediate passage upon it receiving positive votes.
Yeah, my mic is working now.
Okay. Like to make the motion?
Sure. Yeah, there is a motion on.
I didn't see the motion. Sorry. I apologize. Go ahead. We're going to modify the motion on the table with the specific motion.
Okay, the proposed motion is, I hereby move that the City of Bristol adopt the following cash penny rounding standards policy as proposed by the Government Finance Officers Association. And it is as follows: from 1 cent and 2 are rounded down to 0. from 3 and 4 cents, they're rounded up to 5 cents. 0 and 6 cents are rounded down to 5 cents. 8 and 9 cents are rounded up to 10 cents. And I further move that in the event the federal government adopts a different rounding standard for commerce that differs from the city standard, then and upon the effective date of the federal government standard, said federal standard shall supersede this policy.
Thank you for that. So just to reiterate, who made the second on the original motion?
The second I made. You made the original motion.
Yeah.
Okay, the second. All right. Do you reiterate your second?
Second, yes.
Okay. So the motion has now been formally made and seconded. Discussion on the motion as read. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I'd like to just say thank you to our comptroller for providing this information. Thank you, Diane.
All right, so under new business, we do have an item that I need a vote to be brought onto the table. I would like to ask the council to have a motion to bring onto the table the matter of granting a personal property tax exemption to Better Molded Products for assessment years 22, 23, and 24. Is there a motion first to bring it on the table?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor of bringing the item onto the table?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, now there is a motion. Councilman Tyler.
I move that the City Council, pursuant to Connecticut General Statute Section 12-94E, grant a personal property tax exemption to Better Molded Products, Inc. for assessment years 2022, 2023, and 2024 for property as listed under unique ID P0270881, based upon Better Molded Products, Inc. request to file its M65 exemption past the statutory deadline, and to further direct the city assessor and the city tax collector to make any adjustments to their lists which result from the granting of this exemption, including waiving any penalties for late filing.
Second.
Second. Okay. We do have a letter on file that was received from the CPA during the business work for Better Molded Products, explaining why the exemption was late. The omission was a clerical mistake made by the actual taxpayer's CPA who filed the report online. So unfortunately, we are now in the position of having to bring it forward as a motion. So the motion has been made and seconded. All in favor of granting that exemption?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Is there any other new business to come before the council? New business? Oh, that's right. This was just yesterday and I didn't remember it.
I just got that too, yeah.
Yes, so we are also going to ask to be brought onto the table. We need to certify our municipal grant and aid to the State of Connecticut Office of Policy and Management. And for timing purposes, it works better to do it here at this meeting instead of having a public meeting. And special thanks to our Public Works Director for ensuring that this got completed and we are able to file. This is something that's required in order to continue receiving our aid. So I will ask. And the bolded, please.
I authorize the mayor to sign all documents associated with the State of Connecticut Office of Policy Management Municipal Grant and Aid certification for fiscal year 2026 in the amount of $4,856,624.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I guess it would be appropriate under new business to also mention that we had a very difficult IT issue develop, of course, over the weekend, because the crises always happen over the weekend. And I just want to take a moment to recognize publicly 3 of our IT staff the director, Eric Evans, Chris Sloper, and Janet Little, who worked over the weekend to make sure that all of our systems were protected. We had a piece of equipment fail, and that affects not only us and our email and things that you would normally assume, such as servers, but also our water filtration plants, our pump stations, the Board of Education, tax data, just about everything. So we've identified the issue, and they were able to resolve it without any type of severe repercussions to the city. So going above and beyond definitely over the weekend. So a shout out to Eric, Chris, and Janet for all that they did. And then actually, as I'm thinking about new business, I think it would be appropriate for the public to know that the city council members and in conjunction with Corporation Council have been talking about the Chippenny Golf Course issue. Many of you may not be aware that the owner has issued an RFP for housing development on that site. It currently exists of 55 acres of golf course, and then there's another smattering of acreage that includes the buildings that are closer to Marsh Road. So we've been having internal conversations about what that looks like for our community and whether there are other opportunities for the city to become involved in that process, including potentially acquiring that property and having a municipal golf course. But there's many steps that would have to happen for this to go through. But I think at this point, we are ready to start having more public conversations and acquiring some professional expertise to guide us through that. So over the course of the next few weeks, you may be hearing about some of those meetings and some of those actions that we may be taking in order to stay abreast of what the owner may be looking to do, and also making sure that Bristol has an option within that conversation. Does anybody have anything they'd like to add? I'd also like to note that our assessor is involved in that conversation, as well as our Parks, Recreation, Youth, and Community Services Division, because all of them have expertises and in our land use divisions as well in terms of that land use process. So it's going to be an all hands on deck conversation for which the public will have opportunities to weigh in as well. Okay. Moving on, I'll ask our city clerk to go through our resignations for the month.
We have Dave Haberfeld from Fair Rent Commission, Robert Powell from the Parking Authority, and Luke Baines from the Youth Commission as an under 21 representative.
Okay, I'd like to have a motion to accept those resignations, have them placed on file, and send those three gentlemen letters of thanks.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, moving on to appointments. We have several. I'm working off of two lists, so just, okay. New appointments for January. The first is to appoint Keith Goodrow to replace John Smith on the Capital Improvement Committee. Keith is somebody that Mark and I met over the summer who has a wide range of experience with project management and all types of systems and controls. And I think that he would be a valuable member to serve. He is from the Forestville community and is someone that Mark went to high school with. So I'd like to put the name of Keith Goodrow forward for the Capital Improvement Committee as a citizen representative.
Don't move.
Thank you.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. For the Bristol Early Childhood Collaborative, I'd like to put forward the name of Christina Gutierrez as the parent rep with an expiration date of August 2026.
Don't move.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We do have a vacancy on the Fair Rent Commission, and that will be for someone who has a landlord background. Moving on to the Board of Fire Commissioners, I'm putting the name forward of Sandra Bogdansky, an unaffiliated voter, to replace Joyce Patak with a term expiring in January of 2029.
Don't move.
Second.
Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to the Bristol Historic District Commission, I'd like to appoint Alicia Jennings, a Republican, as a regular member to replace Patty Philippon, a Democrat, who has expressed an interest to not be reappointed after several years of service on this panel. That expiration date will be January of 2031.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The next appointment is to appoint Greg Hartman, a Republican, as an alternate to the Bristol Historic District Commission. He is replacing Alicia Jennings, who was just promoted, and his term will expire in August of 2029.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to the Library Board, I'm looking to reappoint Valina Carpenter, a Democrat, Andrea Kapczynski, a Republican, and Nicholas Jakubuski, a Democrat, all with terms that will now run through January of 2029. Is there a motion? Well, does anybody feel the need to pull any of those out?
No.
Okay.
Good question.
Yes,
Andrea Kopczynski, my sixth grade teacher from Benny.
she is. So the motion on the floor is for a reappointment vote for all three members of the Library Board who are up for reappointment.
Aye.
Second.
No.
No.
Anybody in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I didn't know someone made a motion.
Okay. Park Board, to reappoint Cynthia Donovan, an unaffiliated voter, to the Parks Board for a term that will run through December of 2028.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We do have a vacancy on the Parks Commission for anybody who may be interested. Please talk to one of your council members or to the mayor's office. For the Parking Authority, I'd like to put the name forward of Michael Petosa, a Democrat, to replace Robert Powell with a term running through, Robert Powell was one of our resignations. He asked to not be reappointed. He's he's a resignation due to medical. Expiring date of April of 2028.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Retirement Board, we need a motion to correct the expiration term of Thomas Barnes, which should read to July of 2030.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The next one is to appoint James Pelletier to replace Peter Dauphiné, who is retired, as the police representative to serve on the Retirement Board. That term runs through July of 2028.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, just to be safe, we're going to make two appointments to the Transportation Commission in case they stick around. The first one is to reappoint David Rooks, Democrat, expiring through January of 2029.
So moved.
Second.
Conversation, comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The next one is to appoint David Calhoun, an unaffiliated voter, to replace Steve Cohen with an expiration date of January of 2029.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Next, for the Youth Commission, we are moving Cecilia Garay, who has served a short stint on the Parks Board, over to the Youth Commission. She is a Democrat, and she is replacing Lance Washington, who has resigned. That expiration date runs through January of 2029.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, I'd like to put forward the name of Alexander Parenti to replace Luke Vines as the youth representative on the Youth Commission with an expiration term running through May of 2027.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Zoning Commission, I'd like to appoint Morris Patton, a Democrat, as an alternate to replace Mike Derone with an expiration date of December of 2028.
So moved.
Second.
Comments? Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, for the Zoning Commission, I'd like to appoint Jeffrey Hayden, an unaffiliated voter, as an alternate to replace Sarah Mangiafico, who was promoted to full member with an expiration date of December of 2028.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I'd also like to ask for a nomination of Marino Bigos to serve as the acting town and city clerk, beginning with a term of January 26th.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And also just as a, I guess, notification, it's not really a formal appointment, but I have asked David Hartley to serve as a special liaison to the Bristol Burlington Health District's Building Committee. So I would like to just codify that within the minutes that he has agreed to serve. And finally, for the Animal Control Facility Building Committee, I'm going to appoint the following people that have been members. To reappoint Lindsay Rivers, unaffiliated, as a regular member. There is no term. To reappoint Luis Lorenzo Ruiz, unaffiliated voter, as a regular member, no term. To reappoint Frank Stosky, a Democrat, as a regular member, no term. To appoint Chris Hayden, a Republican, as a regular member, no term. Is there a vote to appoint those four people, to reappoint those four people to the Animal Control Facility Building Committee?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The next section of this is to appoint Ray Gazurski, our Animal Control Officer, Dave Oakes, our Facility Operations, and Deputy Chief Matt Moskowitz as liaisons to the Animal Control Facility Building Committee.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
And the third section is our new members. I would like to appoint Nancy Levesque, who is the former city engineer for the city of Bristol, who brings great building experience to this committee, as a regular member. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, I'd like to appoint Lynn Della Bianca, an independent voter, as a regular member. Lynn currently serves as the Animal Control Officer for the town of Trumbull and is a resident of Bristol.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And finally, I'd like to put forth the name of Holly Goodwin, who's currently serving as the president of the Animal Rescue Foundation in Plymouth, as a regular member.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now, before we move on, I'm just going to look quickly at my list. And Erica, did I miss anything? We're going to hold on that based on the information you presented. And I think we're good. Thank you very much. It was a lot for January.
Good thing.
Yeah. Okay, moving on to contracts. The first item is to award contract 2C26-002, renovations at Beals Community Center for Bristol Burlington Health District to Orlando Anuli and Sons, Inc., in the amount of $2,158,000, and to authorize the mayor or acting mayor to execute any and all documents necessary to effect said contract.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. So for those of you who may not be familiar with this project, the Health District currently has offices at the Senior Center. We are moving them to the wing that was previously utilized by the Bristol Early Education Collaborative, whatever the, what are they called now, Peter? It was the preschool. It was, I can't get those names straight.
Childhood Collaborative.
Thank you.
Little ones.
The little ones. So those classrooms are now free because that program has moved to Edgewood. And so we are moving the Bristol Burlington Health District to that wing. That in its course is going to free up the wing where their current offices are for expanded programming by the Bristol Senior Center. So this is something that the Senior Center is definitely looking forward to as well. Any comments or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And that is the committee that I'm asking Public Works Commissioner Hartley to kind of assist with them. It's a small dollar amount, but we are really watching every dollar, and he is very good at monitoring change orders and those types of things. And I think his building expertise will be of benefit to the health director. Moving on to 11B, to award contract 2P26-028 Move Management Services for Northeast Middle School to Arcadis US Inc. in the amount of $106,690, and to authorize the mayor or acting mayor to execute any and all documents necessary to effect said contract.
So moved.
Second.
So this is as the Northeast School renovation project is wrapping up. They are now working with this company in order to facilitate all of the furniture, facility, and everything moving into the new building. So this will happen over the course of the next several months. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 12.
Mayor, just a reminder, we'll need a roll call vote on the next one. It's a resolution.
Got this.
Okay.
Resolution. Bristol Parks Rec Youth and Community Services for Rockwell Park. 12A, to approve a resolution authorizing Mayor Ellen Zabo Sasu to sign and deliver any and all documents necessary and appropriate to carry out the terms of the State of Connecticut Department of Energy and Environmental Protection Outdoor Recreation Legacy Partnership Grant on behalf of the City of Bristol. Does somebody have that motion? You guys are slacking with your motion distributions.
I make a motion to approve a resolution authorizing Mayor Ellen Zabo Sasu to sign and deliver any and all documents necessary and appropriate to carry out the terms of the State of Connecticut Department of Energy and Environmental Protection Outdoor Recreation Legacy Partnership Grant on behalf of the City of Bristol.
Is that good enough, Erica?
Second.
We can either read the resolution or waive the reading.
Let's waive the reading.
Okay, so we need to vote on that.
I make a motion to waive the reading.
Second.
Okay. All in favor of waiving the reading?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. So the motion that Councilman Tyler has made is closely.
Do they have any amounts?
Okay. Why don't you amend your motion and just read that?
I'd like to amend my motion, and I would like to make a motion, a resolution, whereas the City of Bristol Parks, Recreation, Youth and Community Services Department has applied for and been awarded a matching grant in the amount of $1,930,000 by the State of Connecticut Department of Energy and Environmental Protections, DEEP, Outdoor Recreation Legacy Partnership, and whereas the Bristol Board of Finance has approved the Bristol Parks, Recreation, and Youth and Community Service Department's capital improvement budget request, including the matching amount of $1,930,000 for improvements to be made at Rockwell Park. Be it resolved that the City of Bristol, acting herein by its duly elected City Council, approves the city's matching amount of $1,930,000, total project costs $3,860,000 for renovation improvements to Rockwell Park. Be it further resolved that Mayor Ellen Zabo Sasu is authorized to sign and deliver any and all documents necessary and appropriate to carry out the terms of said grant on behalf of the city.
Thank you.
Second.
Second has been reiterated.
Okay.
So what's important?
No, it's okay.
So for comment purposes, the state grant is almost $2 million, which the city has matched. So there will be about $4 million worth of investment happening at Rockwell Park over the course of the next year or so. Any other comments? Hearing none, a roll call vote starting on my far left.
Yes.
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 Chair votes yes. Motion passes. Thank you. Okay. Is there any other business to come before the city council tonight?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, everyone.